New York City. On Friday, February 27th, the immortal Hulk Hogan returns to MSG for the first time in over a decade with Hulk Hogan Appreciation Night. Plus, John Cena and Roman Reigns team up to battle Bray Wyatt and Rusev in a tag team match. And don't miss Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, Chris Jericho, and more. It's WWE Live Road to WrestleMania at MSG Friday, February 27th. Tickets and VIP packages are available.
You already know Kowloon Restaurant, established in 1950 and spanning 4 generations, serves a multi-Asian menu. Did you also know that Kowloon Restaurant is New England's premier Asian dining and entertainment complex, serving Cantonese, Szechuan, Thai, and Polynesian cuisine? And did you know that Kowloon Restaurant is also the home of the finest Japanese sushi? If you haven't dined at Kowloon Restaurant lately, then you simply haven't dined at Kowloon. Kowloon Restaurant, Route 1 North in Saugus.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Harley Race.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
This is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
We are now joined by one of the superstars you are going to see on Saturday night, November 13th, at the Shawshene Valley Vocational Technical High School in Billerica, the one and only Ace Cowboy Bob Orton. Bob, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, Dan.
The question that everybody wants to know is, in addition to you being there November 13th, will you have the cast on, and do you have it on right now?
I don't have it on right now, but I darn well might bring it because the arm's still a little weak.
Is it still a little weak? What exactly is the prognosis on that?
I don't think it's ever going to get well, not as long as I wrestle.
Bob Orton, tremendous. Everyone is talking about your return to the Boston area. No one can track you down since 1991 wrestling in this area. You were in the Boston Garden dozens and dozens of times. Do you have a memory or two that might stand out from your time in the old building?
Oh, gosh. The match I had up there with Morales, I thought was one of the best matches I'd ever had.
I think I was there for that, as a matter of fact. I remember you
Boston fans are just great. You know, I loved them, although they didn't think a whole lot of me.
And hey, you're doing your job when you do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I guess when Mike Sharp got locked in the Garden, I'm sure you heard that story.
Oh, I'm sure the fans would love to hear it if you remember it off the top of your head.
Oh, Mike always was on the opener, and then he worked out for a couple hours. And then after that, he'd shower. He was usually the last guy out of the building. And one night there, he showered, went to leave, and he was locked in. Here come the dogs and everything, you know, and he got back to the locker room, but security had to come let him out. But that's another thing I remember about the Garden, you know, just a funny story.
Now, one big match I remember you having, I believe it was January of 1986. It was you and Roddy Piper teaming up to take on the living legend himself in Boston, Bruno Sammartino and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Do you have any recollections of that matchup?
Yeah, I sure do. That was another great match. And then there was me and Don Morocco against Snuka, and Hogan was also an awful good match that I remember up there.
Wow, that must have been a tremendous match. Hogan and Snuka, when they wrestled in the Garden, you could cut through the electricity with a knife, and to have you and Morocco, who were the top villains of the time, out there at the same time, must have been a confrontation that the Garden faithful still remember to this day.
Oh, yeah. The whole building was shaking. It was great.
Bob Orton, tremendous. It's been quite some time since we've seen you on national television. What have you been up to since you've left the squared circle of WWF and the NWA?
Oh, I sell cars, and I play a lot of golf.
Oh, you're a big golf fan?
Well, I get out there and bat them around.
Well, Larry Zbyszko claims he's about ready to go somewhat pro. Would you put yourself in that category?
Nah.
Not yet?
Not yet.
It must be awfully hard to swing a golf club when you have the cast on one arm.
Yeah, well, I don't wear it when I play golf.
Oh, you take it off, okay.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about anybody attacking it, see, so
exactly.
I'm out there on the course.
If they don't know you, they don't know you have that handicap. It can be very disabling having a cast on your arm like that trying to swing a golf club, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Now, Billerica, Massachusetts, it's going to be the home of this big event, Soul Survivor 2004. Apparently, from what the promoters say, you are going to be part of a big tag team matchup, and on the opposite side, you're going to have the Ugandan giant Kamala. Now, have you ever squared off with the Ugandan giant before?
You know, we were always in the same room, and I never did wrestle him, I don't think. Maybe in a battle royal here and there. But just the thought of it makes me shudder.
6'6", over 400 pounds, a man that ate a live chicken on television once.
Yeah.
You don't know what to expect from Kamala.
Yeah, he was a rugged fella. One tough individual. And who's his partner? Surprised me again.
He's going to be part of Ox Baker's team. I don't know if you remember the legendary Ox Baker.
Sure, yeah, I saw Ox last spring out in Vegas.
Was that a good thing or a bad thing?
He looks great.
He's tremendous. Was he singing?
No, I didn't hear him sing.
Oh, he loves to sing. We had Ox up for a reunion we had back in early October in this area, and him and Mick Foley was singing together for a while.
Probably pass on that. That's okay. I don't. Yeah.
He's going to have in his team, he's going to have Ox Baker's executioner, 6'6", 400 pounds himself, just as big as Kamala, and the man with the hardest head in professional wrestling, Gino Martino.
Great. Now,
So you're thinking about right there, over about 1,200 pounds worth of humanity, plus Ox Baker in the corner. And you never know, Kim Chi could be there.
oh, boy. I don't know what I got myself into, Dan. What are you doing to me up here?
Bob Orton, when
Who are my partners?
you have
Hey, I'm not wrestling these guys by myself.
absolutely not. You have Todd Hansen, the man that scored that big victory last year at Soul Survivor against the former WWF Intercontinental Champion D'Lo Brown.
Yeah.
And you'll also be joined by Bo Douglas, who himself is a former NWA New England champion.
Oh, okay, great.
But Gino Martino, he's been plotting with Ox Baker for a long time now to have his revenge. And when he found out that you were going to be part of Todd Hansen's team, he was incensed. He's wild about this. That is why he went out and apparently drafted the Ugandan giant to be on his team.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this, not to try and put thoughts in anyone's head, but you wouldn't think about using that cast if the referee's back was turned, would you?
Well, Ox Baker is from Missouri, as I am. And I think if I knock him upside the head with that cast, maybe I'd mean to.
You might knock some sense into him.
Here in Missouri, yeah. I could take the cup, so to speak. So it ought to be fun. I'll be looking out for Ox because I know he's a wily old critter, and he's been around a long time. He's a mean man, and the Ugandan giant. I know I'm going to have to watch him, but it'll be a lot of fun. I don't do this a lot, but I stay a little fit, and I love to wrestle.
And everyone's looking forward to seeing you that big night, Saturday night, November 13th, Billerica, Massachusetts at the Shawsheen Technical School. It's a big fundraiser. In addition to seeing a great night of professional wrestling, you're going to raise some cash for the cause and help out a school that's pretty strapped for money. That's a tag team that can't be beaten, Bob Orton, just like yours.
That's another great thing.
Anytime you can help out the kids like that and keep them off the streets. I know we had Dustin Goldust Rhodes on this program last week.
Glad to be a part of it.
Exactly. You don't want the kids out there at night drinking, doing drugs, and they need activities like this, especially in this day and age where so many extracurricular activities are being cut, whether it be music programs, art programs, sports programs. An event like this, it's really great for the community, not just wrestling fans.
Yeah, and the Massachusetts wrestling fans are the greatest fans in the country, so I can't wait to get up there. And like you said, it's for a good cause, and at the same time, I'll get to see how tough I still am.
No, you are the master of the superplex, you are the cowboy, and you are the ace all at the same time.
I don't know if I'll be superplexing the giant. If someone else gets him up there, though, by golly, I'll give her a try.
Hey, like Gorilla Monsoon said, you're going to have to reinforce the ring.
Yeah.
Now, in addition to just being able to see you wrestle, Bob, you're also going to be available to meet and greet the fans, signing autographs, posing for pictures. What more could the fans ask for at something like this?
Oh, great. It sounds like a lot of fun. I can't wait to get up there.
Now, for the old-time fans that watch this program, would you mind telling us how your dad is doing?
My dad's doing fine. He needs a hip replacement, and he's a little stubborn, but I think he's going to go ahead and get it done early next year. So I can't wait for that. It'd be nice to see him walk around. He's looks great and everything, but he's just got the bad hip.
No, hopefully they'll go through that with no problems.
Yeah.
And I'm sure one question that all the fans at home might want answered, how would Cowboy Bob Orton think about it going into a matchup against his son, WWE's Randy Orton, right now?
If I was to wrestle Randy, he's awful young, and he's awful fast, and he's awful strong, and he really jumps high. So I think, I'll leave the young ones to the young ones.
But what about a Bob Orton of, say, 1985?
Randy Orton now?
Yes.
Oh, man, that'd be something to see.
It would be a tremendous matchup.
Yeah, that would have been something to see. I
No.
wish I could go back in time and do that. That would really be a blast.
It'd be a tremendous matchup indeed. Now, that must make you awfully proud to be able to put on television every week and see your son doing what he's doing.
Oh, gosh, yes. He's really accomplished a lot, and it's not taken him a long time. And future-wise, I think he is wrestling. And not just because he's my son. I mean, he can do everything.
He's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And like you said, at a very young age, he's accomplished an awful lot.
And he keeps improving every week.
Every week. You're 100%
Really
right
scary.
about that.
He's liable to be the best of the best.
Did you help him start his training when he broke into wrestling?
Well, I started him wrestling amateur at 9 years old.
Oh.
And he had a real good, I guess you'd call it an amateur career. And then when he turned pro, I would get in the ring with him a little bit, and just show him stuff and things like that. But he's gained his knowledge, I think, from being around Flair and Hunter, and being involved in main events and everything all over the country. You better learn fast. If you don't learn fast, you're going to be out of there.
Absolutely. There's no more territories to learn in anymore. You have to learn on the fly in a lot of cases.
So I'm really impressed with what he's done, so fast.
And I'm sure he probably feels a great deal of pride hearing that from you, not only his dad, but a veteran of the squared circle for decades.
He thinks he's still dreaming.
Oh, that's funny. Bob Orton, it's been a pleasure having you on this program this week. Fans at home, don't forget, Saturday night, November 13th, Shawsheen Tech in Billerica, big night, Soul Survivor 2004, a fundraiser for that school. You get to see in action ace cowboy Bob Orton, son of Bob Orton Sr., father of Randy Orton in the WWE now, a man that was a superstar for years upon years, master of the superplex. Don't forget about that cast. The Ugandan giant Kamala will be in action. The Iron Sheik will be there. Dustin Rhodes, who was known as Goldust in the WWF, will be there as well. It's going to be a phenomenal night, and like we said earlier, in addition to seeing a great night of wrestling, you get to help out a school at the same time and raise some cash for the cause. Bob Orton, one last thought. What can we expect to see from you on November 13th?
Well, you can expect to see me get out there and give it the best that I've got, by golly. I've always done that, and I always will. And that was what makes it nice, as long as I can keep going and do things right. You're going to see somebody I think I'll surprise a lot of folks. I can still move pretty good,
I'm sure that's what everyone's waiting to see in that big six-man tag team war you're going to be in, Bob.
Yeah, I can't wait to get up there. Boston fans, like I said, were great, and I really enjoy this, getting to do this because it reminds me of the good old days, and gosh, how we miss them and love them, and I get to live them by watching Randy, and then I get to live them again, by going to stuff like you've got up here, and it's just great, it's a blast.
In the making. Iconic moments take on a new life in stunning images, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive interviews.
One of the most incredible nights I've ever had.
On that night, there's nobody else I could have done it with but Scott Hall.
Welcome to WrestleMania!
30 years of WrestleMania. Available September 15th. Pre-order now online or wherever books are sold.